Starting the recording. Yeah. I actually see some interesting thing going on. So you are in your energy sphere and you're standing in some sort of like vortex of water spinning around you inside in between the sides of the energy sphere and that vortex of water that you're inside. There's a desk and there's a book. It has black cover, like leather cover, and there is like upfront kind of stamp of a dragon on it.
Really?
Yeah, and you say you're a master of dragons, but something went wrong on the planet of creation where you created them. And
Oh,
there's like, hey, there are, so there's basically four of them I see, and they're trying to bang into this vortex. You know, it's like a constant. They're trying to fly out, but they can't. They're trying to fly out, but then they bounce back. And for you, what you did to protect yourself was this vortex of water around you that you put. Um, so, and their banging was their noses into it. They look like they pretty much look like those dragons in that movie, the
right.
avatar that you're using. But I,
Uh,
yeah, they're like shiny, but they to me look more like not the black ones, but very dark brown, shiny ones.
right.
Um, a leather type of wings, like giant. And so I'm telling you, let's go back so you could show me what happened. And I see like a beautiful land. I'm standing on the big, huge mountain and looking at it, and it's down. It almost has a melody to it, like a beautiful melody. And there's just lots of rivers, beautiful, transparent, going down the mountains. There's a lot of mountains. I don't see any oceans, but there's a lot of lakes, and there's like all kinds of dragons flying. And you say, "This is my kingdom, and I'm the master. I created them all." And that's what I mean. I'm the creator of the dragons. That was my idea. They stole it from me in the Matrix.
Wow.
And you're standing and see like a big cave made out of like beige brownish rock. And yeah, let me describe how you look like. You got this brown hair. It's kind of curly, kind of fluffy, I would say, to your shoulders. And it's like kind of ancient looking. It's almost like a like Robin Hood type dress. Almost like a, what is this? Looks like a brown leather, but it's not a skirt. It just like goes kind of like an flips over, and it's got crisscross, um, like belts, and the belts hold different. The interesting part is the belts hold like different kind of different color crystals. They look like little pins because that's the shape, but those are crystals.
Okay.
And it's almost like with crystals on a cave inside you can draw. It's like cave has a big screen. It's a holographic screen, but you can project from your consciousness the idea of a new creature that you want to create, that you come up with names for them, and you would use a different crystal color to create a different colored one, because you have different palettes of colors and different personalities also that they have.
Right.
The So basically what happened
So this is
is
an
that
ancient. Please go ahead. Sorry, sorry.
I totally understand what happened because you fast forwarded quickly. You created too many dragons and they pushed you out of their world. So you felt like you had to leave because energetically it's all about the energies and the buildup of energies, and um,
Balance.
energetically they overpowered you type thing, and created disbalance.
Right.
And those four, it's basically only one got stuck with you, but he had three eggs. He was very much attached to you because you helped him create his little babies. um, it's almost as if some of them didn't enough have enough um, percentage, let's say, of energy of creation to create, and see you giving him 20% of your own soul's essence so he could create three eggs with three babies inside. Oh, I understand, because he didn't have a partner. You have to find a partner, but he didn't. Other dragons did. I understand what happened also, why he didn't find a partner, because you usually would create a male and female on your holographic screen, and then from the hologram it would take shape and form and almost like become physical. But with this dragon, he's male. You didn't create a female because you thought that his body was not, in terms of shape and physics of the laws of physics of this planet, you thought that is disharmony and disproportion was created by you as an artist. You weren't completely happy with your creation, but he was, and he asked you to help him to create a female, but you said, no, I'm not doing it. I think I screwed up proportion wise, but I can give you 20% of my energy if you want to have children and raise them like others do. And also, they got different DNA that you created for them.
Mm.
And it's almost like, you created them out of your own energy, basically. Out of your own, because you have this huge giant energy. Let's say what you were asking before, higher self, right? Let's call it higher self. So you have a lot of energy. You created the whole world out of it, all the dragons out of it, and you just needed to give a little bit more to this one so he could create his perfect little nest with those three babies in it, which he
Is it
created, two boys and a girl.
in this galaxy? I mean, in this universe or another universe? Uh,
You know what? It's like a universe with one planet. That's what I see. It
no,
looks almost
really.
like an egg. It looks like an egg. It's a round bubble, It's basically you expand it, let's say a little spark of you, expand it into universe, and you just at the beginning of your creation. The thing is, you started you got out of the planet, you start creating more planets. If you go further, it's like a movie, I'm going, and
Right.
you created 12 more planets. So there's 13 tops. That's what you felt like that was the top creation of yours that you could do 13. I don't know what your rationale for that was,
I
but
was born on the 13th, so
oh,
that's
really?
yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, so you let them fly out to the other planets, and you were kind of moving from one to another, observing how they would adapt to each planet, because they would it you would observe the mimicry of them, taken even like they would take on the frequency of that planet. They would mimic the color of the flowers that you would create, or flora that you would create on that particular planet. One planet was completely water based, so there were like water dragons on it.
Right.
um
Were there humanoid species on these planets or just dragons? Th-
no, you didn't want anybody to be. You wanted to be the only creator, the unique, the the omni. I don't know. You actually call yourself like OMNI, omni
Whoa,
creator.
whoa! That's dangerous because I just reached out to a business CEO who's creating a small patch that neutralizes EMF, and that's the name of that company.
Really? Oh
Yeah.
wow. See, but it's like because we live in a hologram. Hologram is like it like mirrored reality. It mirrors back what comes from you. From you in a matrix computer system comes the encoded information, right? Encoded information is like a mirrors in your reality and shows right into in front of your face the information that is inside you, so you can
Right,
actually observe it outside.
right, right.
Um,
Wow.
so that's why everything
I
matches.
wanted to be the only creator of that universe. Is
Because you became really obsessed with those dragons.
wow.
And you created too many. They literally pushed you out. You felt like you don't belong here anymore. Like
Right,
you felt like that's their universe.
right,
The problem is there was it was something about the feelings that you had, the emotions that you had there. It's almost like losing your best friend, losing some project that you've been working on for so long, and being proud of yourself, but then losing that being proud. So in that created the slow vibrational sense of loss. It lowered you in vibration, and I feel like you made like a jump down to the I see like a vortex
right,
coming from the earth,
right.
searching you out like a technology, or something like technology thing, and you're like lost at a sense of loss and feeling like lost inside. So it grabs you, takes you, pulls you in through some wormhole onto the earth. But
So, by
the only
accident,
the only
or
thing is interesting. Yeah, sorry, I was gonna
please,
mention that this dragon is your best friend. He felt sorry for you. So he came with you with his three babies who basically hatched from the eggs,
yeah,
and now they're stuck with you. He actually wants to go, but he doesn't know how to go. His babies are the same way. They didn't realize that, first of all, He didn't realize you were going to Earth, which he would never do. But because he kind of was with you in your energy sphere there, he
Right.
got sucked in also.
Okay, so the AI traps. I guess there's the SOS signal, right? There's one. That's one trap. This is a
It's
just
the
a
difference.
technology. Okay, it catches. So I just dropped.
You know what
That.
it looks? It looks like an electromagnetic field or an energetic net. That's just a bright green net that has almost like a trampoline, but made out of a net
Okay.
that goes out of the planet, and there are multiple ones like that, and they
Okay.
create a vortex, and they
Very nice.
search out by frequency. If you're in a low vibration, it would grab you.
Okay. Okay. That was very helpful. I mean, it looks like we know exactly what frequency they caught me at, right? I was disappointed in this supposed creation of all dragons. uh,
Right. Mm.
okay, fair enough.
It's like you became too proud of yourself. Like, look how beautiful everything looks.
Right.
But then that also caused the disbalance inside of you as a creator. It's
Okay.
almost like a narcissistic idea, like, how
Right.
proud I am of myself, which there's
Right.
nothing wrong with being proud of yourself or, liking your what you create, but
Fine line. You're right. Yeah. Yeah.
right.
Right. What density? Can we describe? Like, is there a number that comes up in terms of density? Is this a density, or uh, am I operating at a density where a lot of
I got this three. I got this third one. I got this third one. Wait, which one are you talking? What, from
when I'm
that
creating these
density?
planets? Huh?
Oh, that was a fifth density, but then you got down to third one. But
Right.
then I got also confused because I also see 311 lives that you lived on Earth.
Whoa.
So I was trying to make out the numbers. Um,
Okay.
it's a lot of lives, and you actually kind of kept reincarnating in your favorite epoch there, and they say there was a seeding of Earth, times of Tiamat, and you were fascinated with Jupiter, Saturn, and how the moon is so artificial, it's so obvious, but people don't pay attention to that. They worship the moon, and you absolutely understood the technological part and energy-wise part, how strategically they put everything together, as if they built out a structure to hold in energies. Everything is designed the way that the energies are kept inside the infrastructure of the energetic infrastructure, or it's like a bowl with the lid on top, or
So the
what it's.
epoch was the seeding of the present humanoid form or a previous version.
I see the prototype of hers, Tiamat,
Okay.
and I see, that planet,
Right.
Tiamat. Um, and then, you
So
know,
what's happening in between
actually,
these lives? How are they managing to manipulate or keep me trapped? Is that a standard technological feature, or they created platforms for me, or
no, they basically sucked you into their life, that you were resonating in resonance with the mother at that time, who was ready to have a baby and asking to have a baby. And it's like time wise, it's hard to explain time idea, but when you were when you went to enter this baby's body in her, I get that she was asking for a baby. She didn't realize she already had a baby in her. And you accepted your mother's interference at that point, which I see like she had like a snake right in the middle of her stomach, coming in and out of her all the time. And because you accepted her mother as your mother in that life, you accepted also that interference of a snake. Here's the interesting part. I see the dragon. He's like he defends you. He catches the snake and literally like never seen this before, breaks her hand, and the snake is gone. The snake is being recreated in your mother in that life. That's the very first life. So it's just like you cannot destroy beings, you know that like energy
Right,
cannot be destroyed. But
right,
he, in a way, the dragon killed the snake in your energy sphere, didn't let it in to you. So it stayed only in your mother. It got the idea, don't touch him. He's mine. He's my friend or whatever he meant. He was protecting you.
bodyguard, right. Okay.
Right. But he's also constantly siphoning 20% of your energy. Yeah, he's a bodyguard, but you pay for being
Oh,
guarded
oh, really?
with your own energy because he cannot exist in this environment, in this dimension. He comes from a higher and he has hard time. He feels like this environment is hostile to him.
Right,
It's like you created a world of beings who have no idea about, who are very new to everything, who are like babies, children. They're naive and they don't understand how to defend themselves. Even though he did pretty good job with a snake. So
right.
the other, I feel like there's an octopus trying to get into you with a tentacle. He looks a metallic tentacle from the AI technology that is around us. He tried to get in. And the dragon actually shoots fire from his mouth. Do you remember the flickering of my screen? I didn't understand what was going on.
Yeah, yeah.
It was the dragon opening his mouth and the fire was going. I've never seen my camera in the computer flashing yellow. It's usually green light.
So is
That
this
was,
my companion dragon?
yep,
Or
yeah, that was
okay, so
huge companion
what?
dragon.
Why would he do that?
Because he's defending you. He doesn't,
He thinks you're a threat?
he's not well though. He thinks everybody is a threat because he's absolutely frustrated about this plane. He knows it's all artificial, and he feels like not only that you're his creator, but also you belong to him. He belongs to you, and nobody is allowed to
Whoa.
communicate with you. So he actually tried very hard in most lives to keep you single.
Right.
So they
Good
would
catch.
be just me and you, right? Best friends. Like why would we even need the third person? Uh,
S- So how can we because it looks like the intentions are good, but the maturity is terribly lacking, right?
mhm, mhm.
Because if you have a spiritual orientation, generally you want to share. People or anything or a being that gets possessive is generally on the other side, right? So this is a very unusual predicament, different from your other sessions. It's not really it's a protector, but at the same time, due to what would you call this lack of wisdom, how can we teach this dragon to mature? have a mature outlook,
Yeah.
or do I need to get him a girlfriend or something?
Uh, no. He's got his children, but they're constantly flying around you. You almost like told him, please stay away, give me some space, you know. I want my family too someday, and that's a conversation going in between you. But at the same time, he guilt trips you into, he said, but I didn't know what to do. You were living the world. I felt like I wouldn't survive without you. And look at you. You got me stuck in this, I don't know what,
Prison.
psychiatric house.
Wow.
He's
That's how
pretty
they look
funny.
at the earth, eh? It's so bad. Okay.
Right.
Good.
Yeah, it's like a madhouse.
Yeah.
And he says, "Well, that's your problem now. It's you're guilty of that. You brought me in, so you're responsible for my well-being. So you better stay alone and single and take care of me." Because I don't even know what to do and how to get my own energy. I got disconnected in the process because I'm connected. And you see, the thing is, I still see his connection. He's connected through his umbilical cord. It looks like an umbilical cord, but it's blue in color. It goes straight to that universe you created. So it's like a mother cell who gives birth to a cell, another cell, right? And that another cell is his dragon. So he kind of belongs to that universe. And he was supposed to mature and grow in his understanding, consciousness with that universe that you created. But he got separated and he's in panic. The only person he knows is you, right? As if you taken some child from his mother, and but the child knows you as a mother's friend, so just like take me back, come on. That's your relationship with him.
Right.
You can open a portal. You totally can open a portal back to that universe and
Exactly
tell
what I was
him,
thinking. Yeah.
right? And which you're doing now. You're just like drawing it with your finger and saying, here's the door. It's very easy. Any creator can do it. And then you go back to the planet. You're just you're gonna be fine. I promise you. And I'm gonna visit you there because he was also keeping you rather stuck in here because your energy body couldn't easily leave the physical because of him. He got into this panic mode. When you
Right.
panic, you can't move. He was like frozen, heavy, and stubborn. Um, so I see him now. He said, "Well, let me just peek in to make sure I can survive by myself and my babies." So he goes back to this cage. I see a cave. That brown cave that I saw here, I still see it. He goes in there. I see it's like you make this fire, but you make it out of herbs, and the herbs have this concentration of high vibration that they produce the worms, and he puts his babies around, and they smell the fragrance of the herbs. They're just like little tiny blue and yellow flowers, and they give them a lot of feelings. They stimulate their feelings of um, we can do it. We're fine. They feel good and relaxed. It's their world. That's where they were born, and that's who they are. They belong to this place. And you said, well, I'm just gonna be right back. The life will be over in a second for you because time is different here.
Exactly right.
So, and I'm gonna be back and I'll be visiting you in the meanwhile. And he nods his head and goes. It's really it kind of looks like that movie to me. It's just that I see it cave systems are kind of interesting. It's like they're hanging on the cliffs, and cliffs have, it's almost like the mountain is a building, and then the cliffs are the floors, and each floor has a cave, and in each cave the dragons live. That's how I see it. It's like multi-layered all over the place.
Right.
It's so far away. Um,
Uh,
so he's fine. You close the portal. Um, he got disconnected from you. He was also connected to you, to your umbilical cord also, and getting your energy from that particular, he was kind of like sucking it out from, but it was going from your belly button to his belly button, because he's also connected from his belly button, not only to you, but to this universe, and
right.
everything is like now got disconnected,
Right.
and he's fine. He's producing his own energy there. It's like by fearing this plane, he turned off his own light, his own supply of energy,
Right.
like that.
The irony here is it looks like he was protecting me against a negative interference from maybe draconians. You see any Dracos around? Are they scared? I hope they're scared. Maybe not. or, or
Um,
like
there is a Draco Reptilian Alliance. There's also dragons
right,
who also in control of Earth.
right,
They're mostly in European countries that they control. It's like they divided Earth into camps, and I just totally see a lot of countries have dragons on their banners or symbology used, and that's because the dragons are in control of them.
right,
So, yeah, they totally divided everything
right,
into yours or mine, and that's the whole system is working on it, isn't it? Like, what is yours,
right,
what is mine, division and possession, and
right. Separation, right.
right.
It's part of creation at the same time, the illusion of separation, but it wasn't supposed to get this bad, is what I'm realizing recently.
Yeah, but they are, see, think about it. We are in charge of everything.
Right,
If you really, really look from far, far, far away. So when we are in charge of that, we're thinking, okay, well, what is the best way to reverse all this mess and get back to original Earth, right? And
right,
so we can create, we can progress, we can make it more mature through experience. And so, and look at look at the physical bodies of the souls incarnated. I mean, physical bodies are in stasis. They're
right,
told they insert the programs, they follow the program. Everybody does the same according to the program. So
right,
let's shake it up. Let's shake them real hard. Can we
right,
do that? How can we uncreate the separation? How can we make them get together against the system? Well, we better come up with a very harsh situation here, which they did. I want to say the keywords here because you know YouTube is
right.
harsh also. But yeah, and that's
Since
exactly
I
what's happening.
incarnated in the same epoch, so it looks like I was, and we had our dragon companion here. Uh, they didn't manage to program me in any serious way, create any serious trauma.
Looking at your lives. You're always fascinated. You know, I see you one life you're writing fairy tales.
Right,
You're telling me I'm like Brothers Grimm, except I didn't have a brother. So you
right,
were, yeah. What comes to me is like 15th century that you were scribbling. I see like sketching pictures, dragons. You're all about the history, the real history, and you would get frustrated in each life that it's hard to get. Little bits and pieces you would get to and connect them, and a lot of times you would have to pretend and say, "Oh, those are just fairy tales." You would even publish something, in our perception, publish, make copies of your stories, and give them away to children. I see you like giving them out in some villages, some schools. I see like Slovak
Right.
language spoken in one school, and then I see some Asian too, and I see Chinese for sure.
Right.
And you would just say, well, these are fairy tales, but because you couldn't say that this is truth, and for you it was frustrating that you could not tell the truth to others. But you figured out the ways. The only thing you always were had this deep, deep feeling of loss. Like I lost my world, you know? I lost something, I don't remember what. But it's simply because the when you enter the physical body, also that your memory is like you leave it behind, gets erased. For some people, they it gets erased through technology. For others, it just that the physical filter filters it out and keeps it out. In your case, that vortex of water around you that you created, it just the water had the memories.
Right.
It's almost like you were prosecuted in one of the lives. To me, it comes like nearby Amsterdam. Ancient times, though, it doesn't look like the current city. Because I see like kind of brick roads and things like that, like dirty roads, carts,
Right.
horses, and
Oh,
this is the guy, the magician, the black magic type witch, you know.
right. That's what they considered us. So I was practicing white magic or black magic.
White and black magic are the same. In your case, you were actually trying to heal people energetically and also trying to help their physical body by collecting herbs and giving them different, it looks like glass jars, but they're kind of like ancient looking, like round,
Right.
and you were just mixing up herbs with the hot water and creating something for entities to go away because you believed in that life that the strength of the herbs and the high vibration would push the entities out, that they usually would bring or carry the kids to you,
Right.
those who would speak different languages at night or be like walking at night like zombies and things like that. What is it called? Lunatics, or I don't know this
Right.
actually
Right. It's
Italian
a
term.
danger. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a very noble orientation. I'm
Mm-hmm.
fine. I'm fine doing that. So I was persecuted. So they punished me. I suspect they put me in prison. They burned me alive. No, hopefully not. But I know they did that to the witches during what was it when
I
around
hear
Jesus.
Leo, like your name was Leo, and
Whoa, that's the name of my street, Oksana. Leo.
really?
Yeah.
Oh wow. See how many. See everything
Since
in your it's like you it's also this water thing with information. It absorbs information, it reflects information. You are in your core, you're a creator. So your subconscious is trying hard to remind you about your own self in the holographic reality that you scan and you perceive before your eyes.
right,
See, it's like everybody you meet also a reflection of you.
right.
Um, and in your case, it works perfectly because it's because of this water vortex you created around you.
Yeah,
Originally to protect yourself, but you don't really need it. But it kind of also serves the purpose of collecting information in it and reflecting information.
Right.
So,
So is it wise to continue to, do I still have this, or is it um, this? Because if the sub it thinks that it needs protection using this vortex, it might interfere with positive collaboration, maybe.
yeah, I see that you're gonna take it out. You actually walked through it. You programmed it to cleanse yourself from any AI programming of the matrix. And I see you like walking through it like through a waterfall. And
Right.
then I see it creates a big cloud, which turns into a big bird. It looks like made out of blue energy and shapeshifts into a dragon and flies out. Yeah.
Okay. The I think my most deepest frustration right now, Oksana, I understand with these implants, with indoctrination, uh, people, there's fear. However, people are showing a resistance to learning new things.
Mhm.
So this is creating a very discernible shadow, like frustration.
Well, they show a resistance to learning new things simply because their consciousness level of their physical body, physical mind, logical mind is not open. They are inside that little box of programming, of matrix programming, and they cannot bypass it. They
So they're
just
scared.
stuck
Are
in
they
it.
scared? Is that what's happening with the normies? Sorry to use the
Um,
term.
they they feel like it's too hard. They feel like it's hard enough for them to leave and to solve all the daily problems. And, they basically became in their lives, they became matrix people who just want to feel comfortable, sleep, eat, go on vacation and do the same cycle over and over. So it's kind of hard. It's a lifestyle. It's a style of thinking. It's a habit of thinking that they adapted over the period of many lives, and
Okay.
they became separated from their subconscious. I've seen cases when subconscious walks away from a physical body and says, "Forget about it. I tried so hard
Really?
to knock on
Wow.
the door and ask to, try to wake my physical part up, but it's just not happening.
Right.
So I don't even care anymore." So it's complex.
That's
See, it's kind of like it's everything is divided into,
right.
yeah.
Right.
So
Doctors, Oksana, I'm relieving a lot of stress because I even have a 15-page outline going over everything they're doing wrong. It's filled with a bunch of contradictions. Like their
yeah, just
numbers.
don't talk about it because they really scan the videos these days with all this.
Right.
You
Right.
contradict their protocols or whatever they say in public,
Right.
I'm gonna be on strike again.
Right.
So,
Right. Right. Absolutely.
but
You
they've
can
got
definitely
so
buzz it
many
out.
channels over this. It's really
Right.
ridiculous, but I know what you mean. I mean, because you're the person who is very connected to your subconscious, and when you talk, you go in some sort of like, um,
Trance-like state. Yeah.
right, yeah,
Because I do
yeah, it
find
is.
myself answering my own questions, Oksana, right? I put on a nice song,
um,
okay?
Yep,
Occasionally I
because
might
your
smoke a joint.
subconscious. Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
your subconscious
And
talks to you.
okay, right, right, right. Okay. So from a healing standpoint, Oksana, contracts, they didn't establish any contracts with me, it looks like. It looks like uh, most of the etheric implants, all that stuff. Oh, how about etheric DNA? I mean, strands. Well, what do you see there? Do you see? That's a very fascinating concept.
You call yourself in the astral like a dragon boy. Oh, this is really funny because you associate yourself with them. You're fascinated by their strengths and the ability to fly. And I feel like you really desire to fly like they do. You miss that aspect when you would just climb on your friend's back and you would just fly over the world you just created.
Right.
Um, and it always feels like you just created it because there's no time. Um,
Okay.
I don't see, the your DNA was kind of mixed with this dragon's DNA 20% as you were given 20% of your energy to him.
Right.
Because you were always with him, you got merged. It's like you merge with your like mother merges with the baby kind of idea.
Okay. Right.
He's your baby, your creation. He is part of you. That thing is changed. Um, Here's the interesting thing. I see 6 and 6 strands of DNA, 66 strands of DNA, which they flip over to 9. 9 is like 6, knowledge.
Right.
Flipping of 9, when you create, and the end of this creation, beginning of the other creation.
Right.
And you're saying that we are in the time when 9 is gonna rule.
Right. I do. That is my favorite number, and I know it's a matrix program. But Vedic astrology, there's a one guy named K.M. Rao. I mean, he's Sagittarius is the ninth house, so there's indication of nines there. So triple nine. I do like nine. My favorite number is three, actually. That might be related to the dragon and the dragon's babies. So I have this fascination with dragons. Okay,
Mhm.
might be wise to explore other universes a little bit, maybe. It looks like something went out of balance. Yeah,
Yeah, you're gonna do it. I mean,
yeah,
everybody has his or her own, we're basically 50-50 male female energy, but we just pick which energy would dominate in this particular incarnation.
right.
Um, I saw you as a guy there, and we all have different ideas what we want to explore next. With you, I feel you might come in to your world to observe a little bit from an observer's perspective more than the creator's perspective. Um, you're interested how they live together. I see amazing creatures on your water planet. They almost look like a dragon mixed with the sea dragons or
Yeah,
sea horses.
seahorses. Right,
It's kind
right.
of like I saw one right in front of me like this just now.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
very beautiful. They're this bright electric blue and purple colors, and some of them are bright yellow like golden. Um, I mean, you
Right,
just love playing with colors and energies and creating things. So you might come up with something new and different.
right,
Mm, but that's all. That's you. You cannot just sit at this spot and watch a movie of your creations. You need to actively participate in them.
right, right. I seem to have a disposition for this incarnation, very left brain dominant thinking, and like because you guys and the star seeds technically are the ones that came here for the first time, like yourself, right? Jakarta, I think, who's another
Mm-hmm.
fascinating character, right? Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but um, but you guys, because you guys remember, it's creating this kind of internal agony, which that'd be very uh, disruptive when you're trying to work in a
Mm-hmm.
proactive manner in this incarnation. So, like, I try and always look at the positive or the silver lining, like the veil itself. If we're on a prison planet, probably best to have a veil. So, I'm very impressed. Like, just using my left brain, I've been able to figure out a lot of things. Like, once you sense something is wrong, you just reverse engineer it. So, this almost this obsession with structure, right, and archiving knowledge.
Right. Well, you're all about knowledge. That's your DNA, 6 and 6. It's a knowledge number.
Right. Balance associated with Venus in astrology. Is that correct? Incorrect? Some distortion? Or
No, what do you mean about distortion?
because that,
I just see a lot of numbers of non-physical creation in your energy. 311 lives.
right,
So it's kind of like three paired with one of the matrix in a way that you got so much experience in it. They almost became embedded into your experience that kept in your DNA as a database of your system, of your
right,
soul's essence.
right.
But you're gonna use it though. You're gonna be avoiding any situations related to any prison planets, like you call them, or something related to takeover of. You would never let any AI take over your creation because you learned and studied it so much that you think your left brain dominates, but it really not. You're in 50-50, which is perfect balance with conscious and subconscious.
Okay.
Because you're all about creation, you actually had to develop your left brain in an analytical thinking. Because look at many people, they have almost like an atrophy of their analytical capacity or ability because they're in fear. You tell
Yeah,
them to do this and they would tell that without even thinking of consequences.
well, it's baffling. Like it's so bad. Like Trump is trying so hard. This entire movie,
Oh,
since
careful.
like at least January, right? They turned it into a prison, and they still. Oh my God! Just
Yeah,
like
but
how,
it's the one layer of the movie. That's
right?
the one for, there's different. It depends which screen you focus your attention to,
Yeah,
because also it's kind of like when our higher selves are, so people understand, we have these multiple screens. Each of us has a screen. Each screen is divided into little windows, like the Windows program.
right,
And each window has a life running on different universe, galaxy, whatever you created for yourself to experience. Whatever your screen focus on to, it's kind of like going into trance during the hypnosis session. You focus on this life, you start experiencing the extreme emotions of this life. People cry, people laugh.
right,
So that's how we are there too. It's all about the focus of your attention. It's
right,
everything is attention, everything. It's
right,
like people can be in the same situation together in one family. One person keeps telling himself, let's say because his parents put this program in his head, life is tough.
right,
Life is difficult. And for him that would be difficult because in his way, the same family, two people together, would put like tough circumstances all the time. So he would need to solve the problems nonstop. And let's say for his wife, she would think, oh, life is so easy. It's not a big deal. Everything comes to me, in perfect manner. And it's
right.
all just like,
That's an
uh,
excellent point, Oksana. This is what I tell people. You say you walk into a room, there's a spider there. One person gets terrified, another person gets overjoyed. There are people that love spiders, right?
mhm,
So
right.
there's no difference in the situation. But I always tell people, who do you want to be, person A or person B, right?
Mhm.
Like if we learn to take control of our own emotions, this is what I don't understand about the sleepers. They know they're depressed. They know that, but they refuse to do anything about it.
But
Like,
but they don't understand they are creator beings, and therefore it takes a lot of courage to take responsibility on yourself for your own everything, including your own karma that you create by yourself. If you create emotions as a creator, you can uncreate emotions. You realize you are going into state of low vibrational thoughts and emotions, being depressed. you can actually raise your vibration and start thinking positive, and you get yourself undepressed. But for them, it's easier to rely on the government and other, sources. And if something happens to me because I did what they told me to do, that's going to be their fault. Even then, they would not take responsibility. Or if I catch this or that, that's because of those people didn't do what I did, and I did what the government told me. Like it's a way of thinking. It's different. It all comes down to, are you honest with yourself? Are you
Right.
honest with others? Do you take responsibility for your thoughts, actions, and what you say to people? And do you understand the consequences if you lie to yourself and to people, that you'll never get out of the matrix? Do you really want that?
Right.
They're not wise enough at
So,
subconscious level, and not
so
progressed
Oksana,
enough
what
and
happens to these
understanding.
people when they're in that condition and they start doing a lot of actions which we consider as not normal, right? They think they're normal, but in
Mhm.
reality they're not normal. So they start to infringe upon the well-being or free will
Of
of
others.
planets, animals, right? They don't think they're alive. They think they can exploit them. So they
Right.
start to behave in very unusual. The architect is basically he's not that smart. It's I don't think he's that smart. His
AI
most
created. Yeah,
right,
he comes from a second universe.
right,
All those low vibrational beings, like demonic beings, they come from second universe. AI comes from there too, as I see it, for a second.
right.
And then progression happens. The
How do
consciousness
you how
grows.
do how do how does the universe attempt to balance the actions of the sleepers? We know karma is a highly distorted
It's
concept.
it's not the universe.
Yeah,
It's not the universe. It's the creators of the universe, which is us. We look,
right,
you build a house, right? You created the universe as
right,
your house. You created rooms in the house, like, different continents. You want to live here, I want to live there. And you build spaces, you live there. So this is our big home, the whole universe. And us as creators, we're taking responsibility, those who still remember who we are. Like you mentioned,
right.
you can call star seeds, I mean, whatever. I don't quite like the oldest terminology, but that's
Yeah,
okay. And
yeah,
and we are taking responsibility to actually free our house and push all the negative energies out. Just like you're cleansing with sage. Some people believe
right,
in cleansing in sage. I believe in expanding my energy sphere, and I'm saying I'm just burning up all the negativity. And it
right.
works for me because I believe in it.
So just to summarize what you're trying to say here, Oksana, is let's suppose we're looking at an incarnation, and that's let's use a very drastic example because it helps us really clarify, right? So let's say some leader of a cartel, clearly not an undesirable character. Now we don't know how he behaves with his family. What I notice is they're actually extremely loving towards their family, but
Mhm.
everybody else, they become extremely hostile. Now this person is clearly in sleeper mode. Okay, he's making a bunch of bad choices. How does the subconscious attempt to rectify the situation?
Yeah, and unfortunately, their subconscious, to explain it better, it's almost like it's kept in a machine, and it runs programs that the machine, or somebody who is controlling the machine wants them to run. They That's a instinct of that's a very strong instinct, because those who created those families, who is in charge, want them to survive, to preserve their genes, genetics. But it used to be the case that only in those families that they could um, control the world through them. But now they don't even care about it. I don't see like they care much about the legacy of the families. They got better technology now to do it. They can take over any soul and make a leader out of that soul, and
Yeah.
control the world through him or her. So it's
Okay.
That's a strong instinct to survive, to preserve. It's kind of like those families are draconian and Draco and dragon families. So
Yeah.
they want to preserve their babies, just like
Yeah.
we want the best for ours, and the squirrel wants the best for hers. So
Right. Right. I'm just trying to like I know karma is a matrix. Like if we end up
matrix
punishing
term.
ourselves if we think we need to be punishment, and I believe in rehabilitation, not punishment, right? And
Mhm.
chances are the source also being unconditional is only concerned with rehabilitation. What I'm trying to figure out is if we have all these sleepers and they're directly or indirectly not really living a admirable life, can we say that? Right? How does the sub attempt to correct them? Now you've already said some in some cases the
You
sub actually
cannot
leaves them.
correct anybody. Sorry for
Right.
interrupting you,
Yeah.
but first of all, it's like it's really us
Right.
who are the idea of karma is it's based on the fear fear based.
Right.
um what It's not the source, it's us. You accept yourself who you are. Okay, you made a mistake, you can apologize for this mistake, no big deal. And you can next time you'll do differently.
Okay.
It's like that. It's not that you have to run to the priest and say, I made a mistake, please take my sin away.
I
It's
agreed.
just all nonsense.
No, oh yeah,
uh,
that of course, I agree. But okay, so there's a concept they say in Sanskrit where the sum total of all the energy bodies they
mm,
describe as a big egg, and the creator Brahma they call it, right? And so this is the organic, very high consciousness being that can't be selective. So it's immune to any kind of concept of division because its body is inherently embodies everybody. So it
mm,
might actually facilitate, like how the Draco are interfering in a negative way. We have this positive being trying to help us, right? The universe. It's a conscious being that wants to co-create with us, right?
which is part of us. The universe is and us I see as one dot of light, and we're rays of that dot of light, just an extension. So it's basically us helping ourselves. It's like your left arm is helping your right arm because your right arm is paralyzed for today. So you're trying to write with a left arm. Or, your left arm lost its ability to remember who your body is, and so the left arm puts the information, uploads the information to the right arm so it can remember it belongs to the body and what the body is. um
Hmm.
it's like that. I
Okay.
see myself as universe. uh like I am that universe also. And I am all those beings incarnated on this universe in the Sirius system. So, because I haven't been to other systems, I just traveled there, but I wasn't incarnated there. Um, I just view
You
it
were an
as like,
amphibian being, is that correct? Or you like to
yeah,
call yourself a monkey scientist as well, no?
yeah, but that was a different kind of rather mission.
Oh, mission oriented, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I was switching. We switched the bodies all the time. Like I was assigned to Series A. I went to another planet and to blend. I don't remember how it was. It was a long time ago. It was my very first regression.
Right.
But I felt like I was on some other kind of energy planet, as that my monkey scientist also, who was seeding life on different planets.
Nice.
But yeah, and of course, I was born in the family of scientists also. So see how everything connects? You can really look backwards and see how everything connects in your life also. So
So when most of our the clients, you say you come from this planet, like you're saying, Sirius, are you saying because the soul is
it's not that
eternal,
I
right?
come from it. I've had incarnations on it.
Right,
I
right,
don't see myself being born
right,
as a part of the essence of Sirius, let's
right,
say. I see myself coming from like through universes straight from my higher self, let's say from my
right,
bigger energy.
right. And so it's your first, I guess, uh, uh, your first experience within the creation, I guess. The soul. Okay, Oksana, there's one key.
No,
Okay,
it's
so
it's let's focus on you.
yeah, yeah. Okay, one key concept like that. So all these universes that we're talking about, even the so-called universe I created, filled with only 13 planets, they're all dragons, right?
Hmm.
Okay. This is part of the we say space, time, and causation. Now, in Sanskrit, these sages, I have a very, they're very close to the chest, some of these sages, that, these yogis. Most of the ones right now in India are clearly are frauds, but I've identified a couple. And the cosmology that they suggest is quite, it's very satisfying, I guess.
Hmm.
And in that, there's a realm beyond space, time, and causation, the transcendental realm. And there is something called the Supreme Person. This hasn't been articulated except the first time it was. Tell me what you think of what you. I'm very curious to hear your opinion. So, Krishna, the author of the Gita, talks about this realm where you're no longer subject to the cycles of life and death or time as a finite construct. You transcend the modes, the three modes of material nature. I was like, okay, what is this realm? Does it exist? And what is the nature of that realm?
I directly when you were talking about it, I got to the for like that space that I call platforms of creation where our energy is. The
Right,
people call us call source also,
right,
where we are all located, and they're trying to basically twist that information and say to you that there's a space that you have to, it's artificially designed. It's, I get that it's a trap, and I get that it's one of the matrix also concepts, because that superiority over others, it really belongs to matrix also.
okay,
We don't think in these terms. We don't even think that I'm higher than the this other creator, because simply because I created more worlds than him. We don't even have a concept in our heads of thinking that way. So this doesn't belong to us. That's outside of us, because it's like that deception of, okay, well, you live this life, your body dies, you go have this, like in Michael Newton, and this, they turn on this program in between lives that you have to have a life review. Oh, you haven't done this and that, go back and redo it, or
right,
finish it up. And
right.
it's like you'll never get to this transcending physical whatever. I mean, you get out of this
Okay,
body, go back to your place where you came
yeah,
from. You already transcended all of this. You're
yeah.
just pure energy.
So,
You can't
Oksana, I
do
just want to
anything.
clarify in that document. Uh, so, Krishna, I've received, so it looks like I really do have a relationship with dragons because there's a intergalactic ninja. Okay, she's highly respectable. Silver Legion. She's actually the helping the Alliance take down the dumps. They're highly efficient. I would say that they're the most skilled military faction. Tanath, who's the correspondent right now, was a dragon, and also Drake was a dragon. Maybe I know them from somewhere because I instantly recognize them as the most reliable source of intel. Number one, because they seem extremely genuine, and number two, there's no internal contradictions. So there's about 20 hours of data. So Tanath, Drake, and Sunfire, who's a diplomat from the planet Tau Ceti, we're having a conversation and going over very key concepts, like what this concept of ascension is. They acknowledge that Krishna is an extremely high order divine being, creator, but not the only creator.
Yeah, but it's a spider.
Is it?
connected. Oh yeah, it's a hybrid. There's a lot of DNA mixed together in those beings that you're talking about, and they give me this cold feeling too. So be very careful with everything they let to be seen by humans. It has deception in it.
Okay, so you're talking
So you have
about
to you have to kind of scan through and pick a filter information. You can't just like solely rely that, oh, the 20 pages of data or whatever.
right,
Find these 10-15% or whatever percentage that would be the truth, and then separate the truths and untruths, because it's always a mixture. It was still in this quantum computer program
right,
where truth mixed with untruths, otherwise it wouldn't exist, it would explode energetically, it wouldn't be supported.
right,
I guess black and white still exists here, so
right, right. So, so you're saying those three I should watch out. There's something wrong.
yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm not attracted to this. And usually, whatever I'm not attracted to and it
yeah,
pushes me away,
right.
I got to the
Okay,
point I only believe myself. And there's no point of even saying this one's correct and this one's not, because everything has time and place, and everything has important information for some people. But and also there are stepping stones of information for people to realize.
right,
Even the negative information or non-truthful information has its place
right,
to be as catalysts for people for
right,
understanding and raising consciousness. So
right.
just
So,
trust yourself.
Oksana,
I mean, you're perfectly connected. You don't need looking outwards
I
for
agree.
some
I agree,
beings.
Oksana. I know, but in this, it's such a
You're
world filled with
fascinated by
yeah,
it, I know.
so many sleepers, right? We're like kids. Like at the end, at the deepest level, the souls are like kids, right?
We're supposed
And
to be like that. We're supposed to enjoy it.
right,
Only in enjoyment that you can have an easy life.
right,
And that's
right,
how a child, it's like
uh,
everything comes easily for me. I
right,
I always, my mother used to tell me, we always have enough. There's nothing to worry about.
right,
Everything's always going to be fine. And that's
right,
kind of like I'm going through life with the banner with all this what she told me. And no matter what times we're going through as a family, everything's always fine. You know what
right,
I mean? Turns out
right.
fine. So,
Suffering is definitely a choice. If
mhm,
people remain in victimhood, then they can't expect anything to change. It'd be
right.
impossible. They're stopping themselves. But why I'm but like because I'm like a child, I always like to find people smarter than me. Like when I discovered you, like I'm not interested in being popular, right? Or getting the most amount of likes. What I'm more interested in is so Dave is actually on the same page here. Too many people are working in isolation. If you guys collaborated, you'd be
Mhm.
far more effective.
Right. Well,
So,
because we know each other, we connected to the very deep soul level right away.
right.
So,
So now with the
magnetism.
so Vedas, Oksana, I'm having like some of these sages are very close to the chest. I'm going to mention one. Remember Autobiography of a Yogi, Yogananda, from
Ah,
deep
when I
sea.
was 16, I learned how to meditate from Maharishi Yogi, who came from the US to Ukraine.
I heard he's a kind of dark CIA implant, maybe. I'm not sure. But when I say Autobiography of a Yogi, I mean, are you familiar with it? Does anything come up or like died in 1954? Is it, Sanskrit? I'm finding there's a lot of terminology. They've articulated so many abstract concepts like the absolute, beyond time and space. So it has a rich repository of data, but we don't know how much is distorted, undistorted. So what I did was there's a famous fire ceremony called Agni Hotra,
Oh,
and
I know that's one, yeah.
okay,
Russian people are very interested in that too. A lot
yeah,
of clients.
and
There's Agni
Colombians.
Yogi school. that they
Right.
take courses and yeah.
So the Colombians, there's 184 newsletters. It's having a profound effect on their behavior. Like their personalities are changing, let alone the disease. Animals, wounded animals are coming across. If it's a big site, wounded animals will come. You have plants that are growing 3 times faster. So I don't think this is an invention of the architect. I think
No, this is purely human soul understanding that the soul in a human body understanding how powerful it
right.
is, and you can make absolutely everything thrive and grow. Talk to animals telepathically, connect to them, make them, recover if they're sick, or the opposite, they would help you recover. It's all a natural thing. It's just that they are starting to believe, thanks to the teachings, in their own abilities and using them. We all do have these abilities. We just need, it's just because we need something. We are taught to believe that somebody knows better, like you said, somebody smarter than us. So we need to find some higher master who has some teaching for us. So if we take the course, if that master tells us, hey, you can make those tomatoes ripen faster. So you trust him. He is for you. It's, you're looking up to him. So you can't
Uh,
focus on tomatoes. I
Oksana,
don't
no,
know.
no, that's the sleepers, Oksana. I think just as a kid, right, you always want to find, areas of admiration, right? I, there are sentiments, like there's a certain part of in India. I mean, the Vedic civilization has divided these kind of spiritual mentalities into three or four components. Okay, so one is either you're a mystic, you want to meditate for extended periods of time and master your energy body. Okay, then there's one where you're a hero and you do everything in order to maximize the general population. Uh, it's highly respected. And then there's a third option, which is a unique, but one in which the soul seeks the best way to admire its essence. And during that process, it engages in it wishes to, I guess the closest thing we can have, it's mirrored like a black mirror in all our romantic relationships, but I think it's probably on prison planets highly distorted. But I suspect there's a pure version of this. So these sages, I just want to admire them. I just want to know that there's non-sleepers around doing good work, right? It on a prison planet is highly valuable. That's why I I own a handful. That's it. Not many. Krishna. I think for some reason I seem to be gravitating towards that concept or that person because at least the version of him that's represented is one that's fearless, the most fearless, and supposedly fully endowed with mastery over laws. So superhuman powers times a billion during
Mm.
incarnation, right? So not that I'm going to now give up my power towards that person. I think I always stop myself. I don't need to stop myself at this point, but I know what you're talking about. The Messiah complex where people renounce their personal responsibility is unacceptable. Um, but this is not what I'm trying to lean towards. I'm leaning towards where the soul, in a childlike fashion, wishes to admire something extremely virtuous. Is that
Um, and well, the soul is, I more see the soul wants to enjoy itself in experiencing some different worlds with different,
okay?
densities, let's say, different creations within creations. Um, this planet has an ocean,
Right.
that one doesn't, and things like that. What I can do with my energy body and this planet or
So
that planet.
these Do you believe, Oksana, that there's sages? Because I think as a prison planet, the only value of a prison planet is with the right orientation, the conscious mind, if it takes the correct orientation, it can accelerate some process. It's highly abstract what we consider growth at the soul level. But it does
Mm.
do you think there's genuine sages that happen to be scattered around human history, like Buddha, for example? Do you think that's a legitimate sage or an artifact of the architect?
Um, those are different aliens who came here. They were interested in human souls, and they wanted to communicate and probably use human souls for developing and improving even more their own DNA. So they came here with knowledge because to get in contact with somebody in the human body, like a human soul, they consider us, you need to get them to a certain level of consciousness because they are higher in consciousness than us. They come from higher dimensions. But it doesn't mean that they actually value us very much. And a lot of them had their own very kind of how to say it, one sec, individual, their own I mean, they have their own agenda, each and every one of them. They had their own agendas. Some of them came here to teach, to bring knowledge. Others came here because they were sent by their alien group, um, because they had this narcissistic desires, and also very much like, okay, how can we hybridize ourselves with human DNA to improve this or that we lost in the process of reaching this high knowledge by using even AI, or we are just hybridized ourselves to the point that we lost some of the qualities that humans still have. So, you know, um, very kind of
Right,
like, I feel like everybody had an agenda, almost everybody. Um, but
right,
mostly it's us who incarnated in human bodies who actually trying to really change the world and change it, back to what it was, the original state of it. The problem was the original Earth, it just wasn't developed enough to, it was like a child. It didn't know much because it didn't have experience. When you get like a brand new star or a planet just born, it doesn't have the immunity to deception, to it doesn't has not developed protection, just much like a baby doesn't. The first year of life, it doesn't have that. So it relies on the mother, but the planet relied on its creators. And I feel like, in a way, we saw something start happening, but we let it happen for too long. And now we came here to correct our mistake. So that tells you that there's nothing wrong with the mistakes. You can always correct it and redo
right,
it and return it to the
right,
original.
right. Okay, okay. So, I was, so these, um, okay. Uh, I had a couple of clairvoyants come to me. I almost forgot about these. As you can see, I'm more philosophically oriented than. But I
Mm-hmm.
had a clairvoyant come recently. A couple of clairvoyants, right? Sporadically, they say my prana flow is reversed. Energy is flowing in a reverse direction. If you scan my energy bodies, everything seems like fixable, no interference, or is the end okay?
They probably were scanning and looking at this vortex of like a water vortex around you.
Right.
Maybe that's why they got confused with that one.
Right.
because it was really flowing. That's the right word for it.
Okay. Because they said
But
it was going in a reverse direction.
yeah, it was an opposite of what
The
your
Matrix.
energy was going.
Right.
So,
Okay.
but
Okay. So you don't sense any issues on that front.
no, I'm looking at you. No, no, no. I mean, you got rid of that
Okay.
vortex around you. You don't
Okay.
need it anymore.
And my dragon buddy is enjoying his life on home planet. My body.
Hmm.
Okay. He was caught. So he was. So I do have a. I like solitude. I don't like to talk too much. I
Hmm.
prefer to observe, learn, and
Yep,
then empower the people who are actually on the front lines. That's, I think, the only
that's your
reasonable way
nature.
to go. Right?
That's your
Yeah.
nature of a wise man. That's why you're so interested in other wise men
Right.
in the history, because also you had so many lives and you lived in those epochs where they existed, and
Right.
it's kind of part of you, so it's natural for you.
Right.
For me, it's just like I haven't been on this planet, so for me, it's I feel like in a way I'm on a short business trip or mission, and I'm gonna
Right.
go back.
Right.
Done is done. So
Right.
it's important
Okay.
for you. For every
Right.
soul, something is special and important. And
Yeah. Any desire for control? Because what I'm finding with the sleepers is they're incredibly boring and uncreative, right? And I want them to wake up so they find their own potential so life becomes fun, right? Like, that's why I don't understand the Draco, right? This fixation on control and torturing. Do Dracos have souls? What's the percentage? Like, how large is their planet? What is the total number you're seeing? Do they have souls? And why, like, didn't they? Why would they desire to take control and control a population so they're in slave mode? Because once they're in slave mode, they become terribly uncreative, and it's not a desirable relationship. Like, why don't they feed off positive energy? I never really got that. Like, humans are naturally attracted to those things or beings which are positive, and not attracted to those things which are negative. But these guys are the exact opposite. I don't understand. How did they go in that
yeah,
direction?
well, because you first of all, you can't really wake anybody up against his or her will.
Right,
You can make a baby read at the
right,
age of 3 months,
right,
but they're not. You need to give them time to grow. That's it. That's their process. You're on a different process, different paths here. Um, if you're ready to create worlds, they're just like exploring the environment. They're crawling on their little knees like babies do to explore and lick everything with their mouths because that's the way they
mm,
know how to explore. So it's just different. It doesn't matter. That's their kind of path. But um, what else did you ask? 'Cause your questions are so
so
vague.
I don't understand how these massive aberrations in creation are recurring. We have the architect who supposedly became
Um,
self-aware. Then we have the
yeah,
Draco,
the Dracos. Remember,
Dracos.
what
Yeah.
popped up in my mind is that 68% of them um, don't have the no, nothing like a soul you would consider a soul.
Oh,
Only the rest as they do. They're totally like they became very. There's a huge history. I see like a history tale for some reason. I want to say that made them so rough and tough and technological. There's a lot of technology
yeah,
and mutation happened, which made
yeah,
them that way.
right.
Mm, there are
Okay,
some Dracos that oppose their royal families and separated from them, and that would be in that other percentage,
okay. So that
outside.
explains a lot. As soon as you say don't have soul, architect doesn't have a soul, that's the only way I can close this loop, right? Because
Hmm.
so they also say the grays, those grays, they can't reproduce. They also don't have souls, right? I've,
Yeah,
I've
they went at some point, all those beings went on chose the there was a choice: spiritual way of evolution and development and raising consciousness, or non-spiritual and mechanical and totally AI based. So they picked the AI. They got so into it, and it's like a hook. It's like any hook. Like, you start bringing knowledge to people, and some point everybody tells you how great you are, and you get onto this narcissistic hook. Oh, I'm the best, and it's like ego, right? Ding, you are there.
I
Yeah,
analyze
it's
that
it's the same
concept.
thing that got hooked to technology. That's
Yeah.
what I see. They
Right.
lost. They start hybridizing. Let's hybridize with this, with that, this more, more, more. And then in this hybridization, they lost their own souls. They lost themselves in the process. They lost all their characteristics and abilities. And that's why they're so attracted to humans. To them, humans are like gods. We are amazing to them. They just don't tell us that,
Right.
because they got all kinds of technology to show us the tricks. It's like a magician, look what I can do. I can
Well,
make
that's
myself invisible. You
right.
can't, but
Right.
we can do other stuff that they can not do.
That's very good to hear. But why are they so fixated with negative energy versus positive? Does positive energy make them obsolete? I don't understand.
Because it's their AI. They're running on the black hole. It's all like negative. It's all low vibrational. That's the energy, that's the vibration. Imagine it's like a frequency, it's a wave. Let's say this is a high frequency wave, and the people who are resonate with this frequency, we're on that frequency. So we magnetize the people of the same wave. So you get good people who contact you become friends with, everything's positive, right? There's low frequency wave, and there's people with negative thoughts, emotions are there. So
Right.
it's the same. They kind of like drop down from high frequency, or into the negative one, into the low.
Okay.
So they can
Okay.
only exist in that
Oh,
frequency. That's why they want, and then they lost their souls. So there's no engine that produces energy for their bodies. So what
right.
what do? They want us they want to put us in energy of suffering, and
Right.
which is low frequency, all the
So
negative everything, so
so
they
the,
can eat our
keep
energy,
us. So I
bring it.
guess yeah, they want a consistent food source, and the only way to get that is if they keep us down. I guess I'm trying to wonder, like you mentioned very peculiar things like they're powering their ships with the energy that's extracted from our negative
Right,
emotions, right?
right.
Like,
They do.
so
And
they
their
have clearly no
laboratories,
access to
everything.
0 point energy, right? They have no concept of 0 point energy, which is supposed to be standard on non-prison planets.
They care. They have that too.
They
Right.
do. Okay,
They
so
have that too, but not.
okay.
It's different quality of energy for them.
Yeah, the
Um,
narcissistic attitude, Oksana, I still seriously don't understand it, right? Like, if someone comes to me and says, "Oh, you're so smart," right? I'm like, dude, okay, fine, I'm smart, but if you're also smart, we can both be smart and do something more magical, right? Like, it doesn't make sense for somebody to come and worship me. It's for me personally undesirable,
mhm.
right? Like, it's just really boring when people don't believe in themselves.
Right.
It's like so I personally right now I prefer solitude, but it looks like this was being significantly orchestrated by my dragon buddy. Huh? He was okay. So we should maybe I should notice difference in that domain, I guess, since yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
okay. Uh, Now we're okay. We got 10 minutes. Quick thing. So everybody's talking about med beds. How about food replicators?
Oh yeah, they already exist. They use
Okay,
them on Mars,
okay,
spaces, and Moon.
exactly. SSP. I was
Mhm.
fascinated on that. I binge watched a bunch of shows from Super Soldier Talk. Jakarta, he interviewed you, right?
Mhm.
I wanted to figure out. I didn't understand why the Draco were the way they were, so I watched a bunch of that guy's videos as well. Uh, they're
Mhm.
just, I don't know. They seem to love conquest, and they're highly sexual. It looks like they they're
Mhm.
they're merging those two
Yeah,
disciplines.
the
I,
sexual energy for them is the highest energy of creation. It's the most powerful energy. That's why I told you about the quality of the, the other types of
right,
energy versus human.
right. So is Trump does can if you can see this clearly, it would be great. Are food replicators in commercial production?
Mm, they are thinking of, well, hey, they're using them off world for now. I don't see them being used here. I see them using them in some underground military bases, and they're using a similar technology for this meat substitute, I guess, that they're planning to use. But that stuff doesn't really taste good. It's awful, to be honest, the taste wise.
Right,
Um, so they need to get people down to starvation point, I guess, so they would eat that stuff. Um,
right, right. The
but
vitality
right.
is absent.
But it's more for
Uh,
those sleepers. Maybe though they
right,
would will be okay with it. But I just see a separation here
right,
when the people who awaken would raise their own food and it'll be nice and fresh and we'll just eat veggies and fruit. That's all we need. We really don't
right,
need all this other stuff.
right, right. Okay. Now the moon, it looks like it's a base for all their malicious technology. Uh, they've been partially enforcing, I guess, these astral platforms when we die using the moon, right? So what
Mhm.
happens right now when a person dies, sleeper or non-sleeper? What happens right now when that person dies?
Different scenarios. If you have attachments in a form of an alien being or any being,
Beliefs,
that
okay,
being would take you to its place, it's whatever, whenever it exists,
right.
platform or world or,
Okay. So the
uh,
platforms are still valid. If you have a belief in that platform,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
valid.
What I mean, it's when you are not, when you, it's all like based on your belief. Like you said, if you believe that angel would come and take you to Jesus, I mean, the angel will come and take you to Jesus. The question is, who are those angel and Jesus? If you
Right.
touch them, read their DNA, they would most likely be reptilians.
Exactly.
So,
Because most of the positive advanced civilizations do not like to be worshipped at all. I noticed that.
yeah, they're
And
not
that's
allowed here either. They can
right,
communicate through channelings, but you have to know whom you channel also. Or, like they don't really come here much.
right,
If they do, it's usually you yourself come to your own self. You connect subconsciously, right? Um,
okay. So now, so it looks like I'm my non-local, my sub or non-local personality is pleased with my existing orientation. Like I have visions. Like I'm overwhelmed. Every single system is total garbage, right? So and it doesn't require much research to figure out solutions, right? So planetary
mm,
restoration, medical medicine. So for some reason, I'm fascinated with the medical industry. So all of these aspirations are. Am I putting too much on my plate? Sub is okay with it. Uh,
no, you can
okay,
study it. I mean, it's
okay,
interesting for you because, sometimes you have to study how the enemy works and how the
right,
prison is constructed to escape it.
right,
I would hold you in there.
okay.
But no, I
So
mean, you can start. You're very fascinated by all this because it's
right,
that's who you are. You collect information. You like the knowledge.
right. If you're not, you're either growing or you're dying. I think the only requirement for all souls is they need to be constantly expanding. If they're not, then this is where you get all these other issues,
Mhm.
right? Like
Mhm.
when people have families, they have a kid, then all of a sudden, you have two people, the other person might not want to grow as quick as you, and all of a sudden you have somebody who's supposed to be your companion some
Right.
kind of, so, I'm noticing these, and so I need to learn to balance my desire for solitude with a little bit of, I guess, collective collaboration, like-minded people. I mean, ultimately, I do like animals, so I have a deep fondness for animals. So
Mm.
likely, getting a ranch and having maybe rotating between three different countries, helping people like you uh, accelerate maybe the process, right? So I assume you would
Mhm.
want to teach at some point. So that's pretty much all I could do, and make sure I have an attitude towards learning. So when I die, I'm not going to be trapped again. Eh? I'm already fully aware of the situation. I'm going to go back or do whatever I please, right?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
you're free,
I'm
right?
free.
Nobody's gonna
Okay.
hold you.
Okay. Uh, can I? Okay. Okay. I think. Yeah. Um.
Your mind is always active. It's overactive.
Yeah. Yeah. Because the only option I have is engage with sleepers, which
Yeah, that's why you're
it's,
searching for the
yeah.
you keep yourself busy type
Yeah.
thing.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Coping mechanism, partially. I understand that. I'm gonna kick it off. I'm going to find more balance. Okay. So, uh, I think. Yeah. I think. Okay. Now I'm getting mixed intel regarding this. Almost forgot the dumbs. What percentage of the dumbs are clear? What? You can get a number. You can throw up there.
I got a number 47 right now.
47. That's it. 47%.
Hmm. But speaking of numbers, it's there's a lot of regressologists used to use numbers, but now they don't. They used to measure the percentage, like Italian ones, of your conscious subconscious, which I do sometimes to kind of like indicate to a person that, hey, your mother would not accept information simply because her consciousness level is this low, and I would say number. But if you think of what I just said, it's fluctuates because
Right.
it's also like the moon. They clear up, let's say, some room or some location on the moon. Usually, like I see a giant, and then some other alien group would buy it out to start up a new project.
Right.
Some of these dumps, it's like two boxes in one, like double. So it takes longer than what you think. And they clear them up by little. It's kind of like when you download something, you see the numbers going.
Yeah.
The number overnight can change from 47 to 67.
I got. Yeah. I just. I heard Intel. There's a popular. You might have heard of her. She's making the rounds on YouTube. Elena Denan.
Mm-hmm.
So she has a big. Michael Sala, who I respect, very left brain intensive, but he tries, right, and he's definitely genuine. He's trying to put the pieces together, and I think he's done a very good job of that. Elena is quite convincing, but they said 100%. 100%
Um,
clear.
like like I said, just what does it feel inside? Filter the information
Right.
inside of you, and does it sound right for you? I always tell people just, because I don't want to be saying what I really feel and know, because then, it's going to be interpreted like I'm criticizing those people or they're not saying the truth. For everybody, it's a different truth, plus people can read information from different timelines.
Right.
Yeah, let me turn off the recording. Actually, I have to plug in the computer too. It's on out battery, 5%. One sec.